So let's get into it. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. By way of introduction, my name is Sean McNamara. I am manager of the MLC's Publisher Services team.
And my name is Tanya Jurek, and I am the team lead of Rights Management.
It is great to have everybody here. As you may or may not know, you probably know, we completed our August distribution this past Monday, and following each distribution, we do like to have a webinar where we walk you through how to access, download, and interpret your royalty statements. So with that, I will start presenting a deck, and I will ask Tanya to make sure that my screen is sharing. Can you see that?
Yes, perfect.
Great. All right. So let's get into it. We are the MLC. I'm sure you knew that, but it's lovely to make your acquaintance. I would encourage you to connect with us on social media. We have a number of accounts that we're really proud of. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Personally, I really love Instagram and Twitter and can personally vouch for that content there. We would love to connect with you. Give us a follow, give us a shout, and we would love to see you there. All right, so as I mentioned at the top of the call, we did complete our August distribution this past Monday. So before we get into downloading your royalty statements, I thought I would give you a few brief primers on our distribution, what you can expect, and how they are compiled. The most important thing to note is that each distribution is based on a 75-day distribution timeline. That means that you are going to be paid for usage of your works 75 days after the end of the month when that activity took place. Within that 75-day distribution cycle, there's a few really important dates that you should keep in mind. The first one would be day 10 after the close of the usage month. That's when we take our snapshots. So what does that mean? Each month, we get new data in from the DSPs, new usage data, and we take a snapshot of what we have in our database, your song information, your publisher information, and we use that to match to the DSP usage data and pay you royalties. This again takes place on day 10 following the close of that usage month. So if we're looking at January as an example, the snapshot for January usage will be taken on or around February 10th. The next one would be day 70. On or around day 70, we look to update all of your banking information. So if you have any updates to your banking information that you need to make, please make sure that it's done on day 70. We generally close kind of our banking updates on the 7th of each month. So make sure that any updates you need to make are kind of made within those timelines. We want to make sure we're paying the right bank account. And then finally, day 75. So again, using January as an example, that would be around mid-April. We would be paying you out that January usage. And you can see our distribution schedule in the top right-hand corner of the screen shows you exactly when you will be paid and for what usage period. Quick note, all of these graphics are available on our website for your usage going forward. So if you didn't screenshot this screen quick enough, do not fret. It's all up there for your future reference. So now, presumably, you've gotten paid and you want to know what you've gotten paid for. And we make all of your royalty statements available to you in your member portal. You want to start on the left-hand side of the screen at our menu. We have a royalties tab. You should click over there. This first screen you're going to see is a list of all of your payee accounts and what you've been paid for that distribution. Now, you may only have one payee account, so that would not look awry if you only have one amount there. Some publishers, some members do have multiple payee accounts within one member account, and that's why you see here the example has a few different examples, but you may only have the one, and that's fine. You can also cycle through distribution period in that top left drop-down menu if you'd like, but this will auto-populate with the most recent distribution for your future reference. Before we move forward, I do want to make a note of what I think is kind of one of our greatest secret weapons, which is the distribution notes. You're to click that hyperlink at the bottom of the page, as you see. It gives you a PDF outline of every DSP that was included in this distribution and what may have been left out and why. So if you have any questions about what you've been paid and why some DSP might be missing, however, all that information is in that PDF. It's really important. It's really useful. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. But once you're ready to download your statements, for, again, each payee, and again, you may only have the one, you can click on the link in the right-hand side of your screen under Statements and click View. Again, this will auto-populate with the most recent distribution, but you can also cycle through your payee accounts and various distributions, again, in those drop-down menus. If you want to whittle down to even just one DSP, you can choose that in that drop-down menu as well, because this screen will auto-populate with every statement for every DSP you've been paid for that distribution. If you're looking to download them, you would use the menu on the right-hand side of the screen. You would check each DSP that you would like to download a statement for and click Continue to Download. We have a lot of really robust statement options that are also available to you in this Select Download Options menu. We have two formats, Work Summary and Royalty Detail. The Work Summary gives you totals rolled up to each individual song. It will tell you what you've been paid for that song at that DSP. Or you can get a royalty detail statement that gives you much more granular detail about individual usage, individual track IDs and recordings. All of that is really blown out so you can see exactly what's been matched to your works and what you're getting paid for them. Then you can either download a consolidated statement or an individual statement. What that means is if you have downloaded statements for 10 DSPs at a time, they'll either all come in one consolidated file, or an individual file for each DSP will be generated for you if you select individual. Excuse me. Once you've selected your options, click Download. And you will see this box. An important thing to know is that statements will not download to your browser directly. They'll be emailed to you, and they'll only be emailed to the user that requested this. So make sure that you're logged in with the email that you're ready to receive these files from. I'll also point out that that link that does get emailed to you expires, I believe, after 15 minutes. So when you're ready to download a statement, make sure you are ready for that statement and you're by your computer, because they'll be sent to you as soon as it's generated. So that's a few notes on how to download a statement. But if you do have any further questions about how to access and download these statements, we are here to help. You can reach us by the phone, by email, or we do have a chat box in our portal in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And we are open 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. We are happy to assist you in any way we can in downloading your statements. And again, if you have any further questions, if you want to look at these graphics, again, they're all available to you on the MLC.com, and it's another place that we would love to connect with you at. All right, and with that, we'll stop sharing, and I will hand it over to Tanya, who's going to advise you on how to best interpret your royalty statements.
Great. Thank you, Sean. Let's see. So, Sean, can you confirm if you can see the Excel document that I'm sharing?
I can see the Excel document. You're good.
We're smooth rolling today. So before we go into the actual statements, I'm going to show you guys where on the website you can access the templates of the statements. So like Sean was saying, when you actually download your personalized statements, that will be sent to your email. But if you want to see a template of an example, the ones that we're going to go through today, you can do so from the website. So you'll go to the MLC.com, how it works, blanket royalties, and you'll see this screen right here. Under royalty statements, you have two options. You can download the royalty detail statement layout as well as the work summary statement layout. So again, as Sean was saying, the royalty detail statement layout is a little more granular, and the work summary statement layout is a little more rolled up just to that song work level. So once you click on these links, you'll get the Excel files of the templates downloaded onto your computer. So that's what we're going to be going through today. And we're going to start with that royalty detail statement layout. So this is the longer one. This is going to include a lot more detail than the work summary statement layout. So at the top here, you'll see all the information about the distribution that you are being paid for. So three sections here. You have the distribution identifier. So this is the unique identifier that's assigned to a specific royalty distribution. You'll see the distribution description. So this is the month and the year of the distribution that you are looking at, that you're being paid for. So if we're looking at this month for the August distribution, you'd see August 2023 right here, and we are paying out for the May usage. So after that, you'll see the distribution date right here. So this month, it would be 8/15/2023. After all of the distribution info, you'll see the member/payee info. And like Sean was saying, some of you may have multiple payees attached to your member accounts, and some of you might just have one. So this can be quite lengthy depending on the amount of payees that you're getting paid for. But this is set up as if there's just one. You'll see each member's MLC number, which is the unique 6-character alphanumeric identifier that's assigned to each of you as an MLC member in the portal. You'll see your member name. You'll see the specific member IPI name number, the ISNI. And if you're unfamiliar with an ISNI, it's a 16-digit global standard number for identifying contributors to creative or intellectual property. After that, it'll be by payees. So you'll see the payee MLC number, the payee name, the payee IPI name number, and the IPI being the interested parties information number. So that's a 9 to 11 digit international ID number, which is assigned to songwriters and publishers by their PRO, their performing rights organization, to uniquely identify them as rights holders. After that, you will see the payee ISNI, the administrator MLC number, unique 6-character alphanumeric identifier assigned to an administrator, the administrator name, IPI name number, and the ISNI associated. And then further down, you see the whole chain here. You see the original publisher MLC number, the publisher name, IPI name number, and ISNI as well here. So like I was saying, depending on the amount of payees that you have attached to your member account, this can be quite lengthy. So following that section, you're going to see everything about the usage. So this is based on our snapshot. You'll see the usage period start date and the usage period end date, as well as the specific DSP identifier, the DSP that you are being paid for. You'll see the consumer offering, which is the service offering as identified in section 115, those regulations that's associated with this transaction. You'll see the storefront, the use type, the territory, which is the territory for which the sale or usage is reported. And just a reminder here, I know I saw a question pop up. We only collect and distribute royalties for usage in the US. So we do not collect or distribute royalties for usage outside of the US. And then just at the bottom here, there's that voluntary license identifier, if applicable. We have some other webinars that explain this in more detail if you're interested. So following all of the usage information, bear with me, we're getting through this. You'll see all of the MLC song code, song, and writer identifications. So this is the work level info. So each specific song that you're getting paid for. So you'll see the song code, the song identifier, and the difference between these two is the song code being the 6-character alphanumeric identifier assigned to a work in the MLC portal, MLC portal specific, the one that you can also search in the public search. And as well as the song identifier, which is the number assigned to a work in a member's database. And then the maximum length for that is 20 characters. You'll see the ISWC for the specific work, which is the International Standard Musical Work Code. It's a unique, internationally recognized 11-character alphanumeric code for the identification of a musical work specifically. And then you'll see all of the info like title, any alternative titles, the work writer list. So you'll see the full writer list for a work, the work writer IPI name number list, as well as the work writer ISNI list for all of the separated writers in this work. Unless there's just one, you'll see one for each of those. Lastly, you'll see the work payable percentage. So this is where you're going to see the percentage of the song that you are getting paid for. So say you wrote 50% of a song and there's one other co-writer. You'll only see 50% here because that's the share that you are getting paid out on specifically. So depending on how many songs you're getting paid for, this can also be quite a long list, and all of these fields will be there for each work. Moving along, next is the recording information. So you'll see the DSP track ID, which is the unique identifier assigned by a specific DSP to identify sound recording tracks. So we were just discussing the work information, and now we're going to discuss the recording information. The ISRC is next, as well as the recording title, the version title, the recording display artist name, and then the duration of the recording. So as a reminder, there's a column to the right that says example. So we've filled these out in example form if you would rather look at it that way. Sometimes that makes more sense. So after the recording info, we'll get all of the product info if there is a product associated with the work that you're getting paid for. So here at the top, you'll see the ICPN, which is used as a proxy for the identification of the product. So it comprises about 12 or 13 digits, depending on whether it's an EAN or a UPC. And just FYI, in case you are interested, 14-character ICPNs are also permitted here. Next, you'll see the catalog number of the product assigned by the issuing record label. You'll also see the product title, the version title, the product display artist name, the label of the entity that produced or is releasing the sound recording. You'll see the distributor, the name of the entity that is distributing the sound recording. And then finally, you'll see the release date. So that's the date that the product in which the recording appears was first made available for online distribution. So after all the product info, here we come to our last little section here, the transaction section. So this is where you're going to see money. This is where you're going to see what is going to end up in your bank account. First off, we'll look at the processing type here. So this is the description to identify the usage processed during the current reporting period versus usage processed during a prior reporting period. So we have a few different processing types here. We have regular, reprocessing, and historical. If you are curious about any historical royalties and have questions about that, we do have webinars that specifically focus on that. After the processing type, you'll see any correction indicators if applicable. So this is going to identify where a royalty debit, so reversal or credit correction adjustment has been applied. to your account. So you'll see R for reversal, C for correction, or null if you don't have any of those that apply. Next, after that, you'll see the sender transaction ID. So this is the unique identifier assigned to the digital sales report. Number of usages. So this will be units of usage or sale reported by the licensee. And then you'll see the long track adjusted usages, if applicable, as well as the effective royalty rate. So this is the per play royalty rate calculated as provided in Section 115 regulations for each transaction. You'll also see the share adjusted royalty rates here. And then the royalty amount, the late fee amount, and just a note on the late fee amounts. Those happen where the MLC charges a late fee to DSPs who may not be able to make the distribution for any reasons or get the money to us a little later. We charge that late fee to the DSPs and then distribute it among our members. So if you see anything in that column, that would just be an addition to what you're receiving. You'll see any interest amounts. And then finally, arguably the most important, and why you're looking at this statement, will be the distributed amount. So this is the money that you're going to see in your bank account after all of these have been applied. This is the final number. So that last little section, distributed amount, will be the number you see in your bank account. So this was quite a lot of information. Again, this was the royalty detail statement layout. And let's take a look at the other layout. So this will be work summary. So as you can see, it's a lot shorter. And again, this is only work level. So for each song that you're being paid for, and you won't see any of the song recording or product info on this specific layout. So at the top, you'll see the payee name, payee MLC number, payee IPI name number, and then the original publisher name, the original publisher MLC number, the original publisher IPI name number, and then administrator MLC number, name, and then IPI number. So again, depending on how many payees you have on your account, this could be a shorter section or a longer section here. Following the payee info on the work summary statement layout, you'll see all of the info about the usage, just like in the detail statement layout. So the usage period start date and the usage period end date for the royalty reporting based on our snapshots. Following that, you'll see the territory. So the territory for which the sale usage is reported. And again, the MLC only collects and distributes royalties for usage in the US. You'll see the use type, so the nature of the service as used by the consumer. You'll see the DSP identifier and then the DSP name. So depending on the amount of DSPs that you are downloading for, you'll see all of them listed out here. Following the usage information, you'll see the specific work level information. So the MLC song code that each song gets. So that's that unique 6-character alphanumeric identifier. You'll see the member song identifier right below it. So that is the also unique identifier assigned to a work in the members database, and that can be a lengthier number. You'll see the ISWC, again, the International Standard Musical Work Code. That's a unique internationally recognized 11-character alphanumeric code for identification of a musical work. And then you'll see the title, the writer list, the full writer list, and then your work payable percentage. So again, the shares that you specifically are getting paid out, not your co-writer shares. Following all of that, depending on how many songs you're getting paid out for, this could also be a lengthy list because it will list all of these fields for each separate song. Finally, here is the transaction information. So the transaction processing type, just like in the last statement layout, you'll see regular, reprocessing, or historical. You'll also see the number of usages, the royalty amount, the late fee amount, any interest amounts, and then finally here, you'll see the distributed amount. So this is the final section where you'll see, after all the calculations have been done, the amount of money that you are being paid out for. So if you are just quickly wanting to see what you're getting paid down to a work level, just based on the separate songs, this is a quicker way to, and shorter way to get that information. And then the statement that we previously looked at, the royalty detail statement, will have a lot more granular information here. And then finally, the amount that you're getting paid at the bottom as well. So that was a high-level overview of both of the layouts. It's highly recommend that you go to our website and download the templates before you look at your specific statements, or if you have any questions that you want to try and figure out on your own. But please reach out to us. Our support team is here for you, like Sean was saying, and our website has a lot of helpful information as well. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we will open it up for questions.
That is right. Again, a really quick reminder to please use the Q&A box. I do see some chats going on in our chat box. I will not be referring to the chat box when I read off your questions, and I don't want to miss any questions. So please make sure they're in the Q&A box. Meanwhile, again, this is a webinar regarding royalty statements, downloading and interpreting them. If you have further questions that are a little more outside of those bounds, we do have additional webinars that I would encourage you to attend. And you may contact us at any time outside of any webinar to ask any additional questions that you might have. Looks like we're having some good help links dropped in the chat box. But again, questions go in Q&A. And with that, I'll take a question from Brewer, who asks, what about historical royalties? Historical royalties may very well be distributed with each monthly distribution. We have 3 processing types, as mentioned: regular, reprocessing, and historical. They will be marked as such. So if you're looking for historical royalties, they would be distributed per course of a normal monthly distribution and marked as historical. I hope that helps. We have 2 pretty related questions, so I'll ask them together. One user asks, who collects outside the US? And Jeanette asks, do you have contact information for us to follow up with for international collections? So the long and short answer is that we do not collect royalties earned from outside of the US. This is just royalties that are earned under the blanket license gone into effect on January 1, 2021 for digital mechanicals within the United States. If you're looking for royalties earned outside of the US, we don't have any direct contact information to share with you, but I would encourage you to reach out to collection agencies in those countries and territories for further information. They all should have their own websites and contact information. And while I don't have that to share with you, you should be able to find them fairly easily, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. That is the only question. There we go. Brewer asks, what if I'm not collecting my historical royalties? I don't really have a whole lot of detail or context to answer that directly here, so I would encourage you to reach out to our support team for further information. If you want to provide them further detail, we can help you identify something that might be missing from your statements. And I think we'd like to discuss the specifics of your royalties in your account directly. So reach out to us there and we'll be happy to help. Tyra asks, can I be registered with the MLC and BMI? The answer is yes, and it's encouraged. We are an entirely separate organization from BMI, and we collect an entirely separate royalty stream from BMI. They collect performance royalties, we collect digital mechanicals. So in fact, if you are looking to collect the entire picture of all of the royalties that your work's earned, you should also be registered with a PRO, whether it's ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, but also make sure you are registered with the MLC to be sure that you are collecting your mechanicals as well. Gemma asks, all the collectors can access to the information for royalties, or only the publisher have access provided to them? So we have a public database where all of the works that a member has registered to our database, song titles, writers, publisher information, that is in the public search that anybody can access at any time. More personal member information like banking information, royalty statements, all of that, that is only available to you. But what we make public is the songs that are registered to our database. I'll let it stay open for another minute or two in case anybody has any last minute questions. Again, please keep them to royalty statements. We do want to make sure that that we are answering your questions completely. Tyra, there's a great question, but again, this would, I think, be better served being asked in one of our more general webinars. But Tyra does ask, well, I have to register every single song individually with the MLC if I'm already set up with BMI? Again, the answer is yes. We're an entirely separate organization, different royalty type. We do not transfer data over from any of the PROs. You'll need to set up a member account with the MLC if you haven't already and register your catalog there. But great question. Appreciate you asking it. Gemma asks, where can we access more webinars? I believe we've just dropped a link in the chat where you can find archived webinars. We also do this this webinar every month, so happy to join you there. Eric asks, is there a summary page of MLC registered songs that I can check against the royalty statements? You can access your catalog at any time because what you are being paid for are works and shares that you've registered to your catalog. So if you go to your member portal, on the home page, you should have a breakdown of your catalog, how many songs, how many users, etc. And from there, you can download, if you'd like, a catalog export of everything you've registered to our database on behalf of your catalog. Gemma asks, is MLC associated with Songtrust? It is not. Again, that's a publishing administrator, an entirely separate organization. Songtrust is a member, and if they administer publishing works or publishing shares, they would register those to our database for collection. But we otherwise don't work with them outside of the fact that they may collect mechanical royalties on behalf of their users. Any final questions? Lots of good questions today, everybody. Really appreciate it. All right. Well, with that said, I think we'll close it up for the day. Thank you again for joining us. We hope you found this helpful. Please let us know if you do have any further questions. Again, you can contact us at any time at the email, phone number, or chat that we highlighted for you earlier. You can access archived webinars. I'm running out of words to say. Archived webinars on our website at a later date. All of these graphics are available for your future reference, and we are so happy to assist you in any way we can. So please let us know if you need anything else. And with that, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And thanks for joining.